Hello again, Metters, and welcome to a special build guide. Today I'll be showcasing a KVD Boom Boom build specifically tailored for a viewer who requested a version optimized for 1.4.4 without relying on sanity management. So sit back and enjoy.
So let's take a look at the gun and its weapon features. It has an 18% chance to trigger burn on hit. Hitting a target triggers an explosion, dealing 300% psi intensity AoE blaze damage with a cooldown of 2 seconds. Deals 40% damage to players. This explosion will apply 1 stacks of burn to the hit enemies. Blaze damage plus 30%. Now let's take a look at the burn keyword. Deal 12% psi intensity as stats damage every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds, up to 5 stacks. The additional damage is blaze element, cannot crit, cannot strike weak spots, and will not decay with distance. Actual factor equals 12% times psi intensity times 1 plus burn damage factor bonus, times 1 plus burn final damage bonus. And for the calibration on the KVD Boom Boom, you want to go for a rapid shot style. For fire rate plus 10%, accuracy minus 50, fire rate plus 10% after continuous fire for 2 seconds. And you want to be using a double elemental suffix.
For the accessories, I'm using hammer compensator, compact reflex sight, tactical laser sight, and large LMG drum mag. And I'm using LMG AP ammo tungsten. This will give a stability rating of 74, accuracy of 71, range of 59, and reload speed of 4.
So let's have a look at the secondary weapon that I like to use for this build. The D50 Wildfire. 60% chance to trigger the bullseye when hitting the target. There's an 80% chance to trigger the bullseye to one enemy within a 15-meter area. If there are no enemies within the area, weapon damage plus 25% for 10 seconds. When hitting a weak spot of marked enemies, attack plus 3% for 10 seconds up to 3 stacks.
For the calibration, you want to run rapid shot style for fire rate plus 25%, magazine capacity plus 40%, and attack minus 15%. Ideally, you'd want to use a double weak spot suffix, but I was only able to get hold of a weak spot and crit rate. And for the accessories, I'm using small compensator, compact reflex sight, small infrared indicator, extended pistol mag, and tungsten AP ammo. This will give a stability rating of 72, an accuracy rating of 75, range of 44, and a reload speed of 60.
For our second choice of secondary weapon, I would use the Bingo. 70% chance to trigger the bullseye on weak spot hit. After switching to this weapon, the first hit will trigger the bullseye. Grants weak spot damage plus 15% on hit for 10 seconds, and effect can stack up to 3 times. After defeating an enemy with a weak spot hit, attack plus 15% for 20 seconds. So now let's take a look at the keyword effect of the bullseye. Highlight marked targets will be outlined and suffer from vulnerability plus 8% for 12 seconds. This in turn means they receive 8% more damage while under the effects of vulnerability.
I just wanted to take this quick moment to say thank you to all my incredible viewers and subscribers for your continued support. Your engagement truly means the world to me. If you're enjoying the content so far, please feel free to leave a like, drop a comment, or subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel. Thank you for your valuable time, and now let's get back to some more damage testing. So starting with some just raw damage testing, I managed to hit up to 49,000 DPS, which isn't too bad for a starting baseline. After applying Bullseye and Pyro Dino, I resulted in my DPS hitting 130k multiple times during testing. This buff combo really packs a punch for sustained high damage output.
So when fully buffed running the hardy gloves with the burn suffixes, I hit 199,000 DPS. When fully buffed and running the barbecue gloves with the corresponding mods with burn suffix, I hit 193,000 DPS. Now let's have a look how it fares with talent suffixes. So when fully buffed running both talent mods, I'm running 192,000 DPS. And finally, when fully buffed and running the barbecue gloves with flame resonance talents and blaze amplifier talents, I only hit 174,000 DPS. So here you can see my raw stats. So I have a weapon damage bonus of 50%, a status bonus damage of 98.6%, an elemental damage bonus of 113.1%, and a burn damage bonus of 9.6%. Here are my buffed stats. I have a weapon damage buff of 74%, a status damage buff of 127.1%, an elemental damage buff of 133.1%, and a burn damage buff of 59.6%. For the food buff, I would advise to run mixed fried hot dog, used to increase damage by 20% towards enemies affected by the bullseye. For this, you'll need any one piece of meat, two deviated mushrooms, and two corn oil. For your drink, use Whimsical Drink. Used to gain 25% status damage bonus. For this, you'll need any one flour, but I recommend using bell flour as it enhances the effect of the dishes. One deviated saffron, five purified water, and five ice cubes. And for the last buff that comes from the Pyro Dino, autonomously attacks enemy targets, increasing target blaze damage received by 39.2%. When attacking targets affected by burn, causes explosion one time. This is a vital part of the build if you really want to increase your DPS numbers. And this is how my override cradle looks for this season, but depending on what server you're in, your may differ. So now let's look at the armor that you want to use. So I'm using 3-piece Shelter set for status damage reduction of 15%, elemental damage plus 8%, and for the third piece, each weapon hit grants one stack of deviant energy. Every stack of deviant energy grants 1% elemental damage. Effect can stack up to 20 times. Reloading removes half of the total stacks. For my second set of armor, I am running 2-piece Savior set for medicine cooldown haste of 20%. When HP is above 70%, weapon and status damage plus 10%. And for my key armor piece, I am using the Hardy gloves. At full stack, burn will cause an explosion that deals blaze damage of 300% psi intensity and remove all stacks of burn. So first, let's look at the KVD Boom Boom gun mod. I am using embers with the burn suffix. When burn is removed, stacks only minus 50%, with the aptitude effects of burn damage plus 4.8%, damage against elite enemies plus 4.5%, max HP plus 4.8%, and status damage plus 6%. However, if you are running the barbecue gloves, then you should be running the flame resonance with the burn mod. Max burn stacks plus 2, burn duration plus 20%, and aim for the aptitude effects of burn damage, 2 times any enemy type of damage, and blaze damage. And for my secondary weapons mod, I am running Vulnerability Amplifier Precision. The bullseye adds vulnerability plus 8%, with the aptitude effects of weak spot damage plus 9%, head damage reduction plus 6.4%, damage against elite enemies plus 4.5%, and max HP plus 3.6%. For my helmet mod, I am running Deviations Expert with the talent suffix. Range minus 25%, fire rate plus 10%, and status damage plus 20%.
with the aptitude effects of elemental damage plus 8%, damage against elite enemies plus 3%, damage against normal enemies plus 8%, and a status damage of plus 4.8%. For my mask, I am running the Blaze Amplifier mod with the burn suffix. Every stack of burn grants plus 3% psi intensity damage, with the aptitude effects of burn damage plus 6%, weapon damage reduction plus 3.6%, damage against normal enemies plus 8%, and blaze damage plus 2.4%. For my top mod, I am running Quick Comeback Talent. When using a healing shot, movement speed plus 20% for 2 seconds and refills the magazine from the inventory to 100%, with the aptitude effects of elemental damage plus 4.8%, damage against elite enemies plus 6%, weapon damage reduction plus 2.4%, and a status damage of plus 6%. For my gloves, I am running Elemental Overload Talent. Elemental damage plus 18%, with the aptitude effects of elemental damage plus 6.4%, status damage plus 4.8%, damage against normal enemies plus 4%, and weapon damage reduction plus 4.8%. For my pants mod, I'm running Bullet Siphon Talent. For weapon damage plus 5%, every 5 bullets consumed in a magazine grants plus 4% weapon damage capped at 20%, with the aptitude effects of elemental damage plus 3.2%, damage against elite enemies plus 3%, status damage plus 6%, and status damage reduction plus 4.8%. Another good choice that you can use is Elemental Resonance. For each instance of elemental damage dealt from the previous magazine, the next magazine grants elemental damage plus 1% for 15 seconds upon reloading up to 24%. But as I like to try and balance my weapon status and elemental damage when running these sort of builds, I decided to opt for Bullet Siphon over Elemental Resonance. And finally, for my shoes mod, I am running Coveted Advanced Talents. Taking no damage within 4 seconds grants plus 20% melee, weapon, and status damage for 30 seconds. The effect resets when the duration ends, with the aptitude effects of elemental damage plus 8%, status damage reduction plus 4.8%, damage against normal enemies plus 4%, and damage against great ones plus 2.4%. If you find that you're reloading more than what you want and your medicines are on cooldown, then I advise running Ruthless Reaper, as after getting 2 kills, refills 100% of your magazine from your reserves. This works very, very well in them situations where maybe your medicine's on cooldown and you can just kill a couple ads, and in that way you've got all your ammunition back. And on that note, everyone, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please feel free to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay safe out there, Mez.